Welcome back, YouTubers, to another WrestleMania review. WrestleMania 25, the 25th year anniversary, the Silver Jubilee of WrestleMania with us, the British Fist. Ka-ching! I am Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me, he is the one and only saviour of this channel. It's none other than NJ.
What's up?
Make sure you guys subscribe up above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this WrestleMania down in that comment section below as per usual.
Make sure you contact us in the links in the box below.
Yes, so the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, NJ, massive milestone, I guess you could say. It's a Silver Jubilee. You know, I think one of the things about this WrestleMania is that, you know, you had the first thing we want to talk about is that dark match, isn't it?
It is indeed.
You had the Colons versus Miz and Morrison in a unification title match as a dark match, which was a bit disappointing, wasn't it? Especially considering Kid Rock got 2 songs or something on this WrestleMania card. Just a tad disappointing that you had the rest of the tag team title match, unification match, in the dark match.
That's the thing. In the past WrestleManias, we've seen that the tag teams were a big draw, so that people were looking forward to, and a match that had importance with the unification of the titles. It's sad that this didn't actually make the card to give the tag titles importance. And
this essentially was the end of the tag team division, really, in WWE, wasn't it? Well, importance anyway. You had the title unification match and the dark match. For Kid Rock of all people, come on. BS.
Pretty disappointing, and obviously, yes, the wrestlers are pretty good, which could have been a beneficial WrestleMania match, but they did not get it.
And instead, we got a Divas Battle Royal on the card, which no one cared about, and not a unification of the tag titles.
No.
Really, really very disappointing way to begin WrestleMania, in my opinion. But we opened up the card with the Money in the Bank ladder match. This is always a nice way to open, as it is a fast-paced match. You know, you had CM Punk in there, last year's winner, versus Mark Henry, MVP, Finley, the Booker. He was always going to get on WrestleMania somehow, wasn't he? Shawn Benjamin, Kofi Kingston, the 2 spot monkeys we expected in this match, and Christian and Kane. I think we were both thinking to each other when we were watching this. We were both thinking to each other, "Damn, there's not that much star power in this match compared to the ones we've seen, especially at 21."
No, I do look at it, and we do think Money in the Bank should be for the future of the company. Have the wrestlers that are obviously going to go somewhere. Yes, there was wrestlers that they could have pushed, but it just didn't feel like a amazing WrestleMania Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as good as previous WrestleManias, especially 21, which is still the best in my opinion. You had Shelton Benjamin and Kofi Kingston in there who were going to be the spot monkeys, and they did their stuff. You had the typical Shelton Benjamin holy shit moments with Kofi Kingston, and they did show themselves very well in this match, but it's one of those matches they can really show themselves well in, isn't it?
That's the thing, when it comes to ladder-type matches, you do expect good spots from the lighter wrestlers, and with these two being the draw, the entertainment for this match, the others didn't do as much, but they did build themselves up to the finish.
Yeah, and like I said, the match it was good, just not as good as previous WrestleManias. CM Punk wins for the 2nd year, and the crowd were booing this. The crowd were booing him big time, weren't they?
Yes, and that was a good thing, because obviously the WWE then progressed with that to make CM Punk a great heel.
Yes. So it's fantastic they did turn him heel, because that was essentially what the best thing they could have done with CM Punk was. As we saw with the whole Straight Edge Society thing, and that feud with Jeff Hardy, that he cashed in at Extreme Rules when Hardy won the ladder match against Edge, and then they had that great feud which culminated at SummerSlam 2009 in that ladder match. You know, great heel work by CM Punk. It was because they tried to do it as a face, but then they realised this guy would probably be better heel, and it was a great decision, wasn't it?
That's the way I see it, that CM Punk is going to be remembered as a strong heel, not taking away from his base stuff, but the heels have actually outshone and actually made CM Punk what he is today.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue CM Punk winning it for the 2nd year in a row, but it led to them turning him heel, I guess, so you can see that as a good thing.
There's just other wrestlers in this match that could have became Mr. Money in the Bank, like a Christian, I believe, the way he was in this match.
Or even a MVP, or even a Shelton Benjamin.
They could have been possible winners, but I think the WWE saw something in CM Punk.
Yeah, I bet the indie nerds were jizzing their pants as well when CM Punk won for the 2nd year. Anyway, let's move on. Divas Battle Royal to crown Miss WrestleMania. Why the fuck was this on the card? Just, I don't know.
If the winner was given to a diva that was going to progress in the next year, I would have liked it. But Santino, it just really took interest away from this match that was meant to be special for the divas.
No one got any entrances, even though you had people like Sunny in there, who people would have probably popped for. Just, what was the point? Santino won, and yeah, whatever, we don't really care.
No, just then the storyline with that just got worse.
Next, we had Chris Jericho in a handicap elimination match versus the legends of Jimmy Snuka, Roddy Piper, and Richie Steamboat. This whole thing was revolved around Jericho had the feud with the legends about the movie The Wrestler and his hatred of them, the has-been legends, being part of the business now. And they'll represent the representation of that movie. And you revolve this ring around Mickey Rourke as well, who was the celebrity guest there at WrestleMania.
With this, WrestleMania is good for having legends involved. So for them to go up against someone as big as Chris Jericho, I can see why they did it for that reason. But Chris Jericho, with the wrestler he is, could have deserved better at a big WrestleMania like this.
I do think so as well. I mean, it's nice to put him against legends and really put him over that way. But you got to a point in his career, 2009, where he pretty much won the title. He pretty much been put over as much as he can be put over. And I think there was better ways to use Jericho on this card. I mean, the match itself. I mean, Roddy Piper and Snuka were eliminated quickly, but as soon as he got into it with Steamboat, you were thinking to yourself, God, Steamboat really doesn't seem to have lost a beat here, and he actually put on a nice little match with him, which led to a match at Backlash, which was a lot better than this, in my opinion.
With Steamboat, the crowd were definitely behind him. Not saying they weren't behind Roddy Piper and Snuka, but
he was miles above the better wrestler.
That's the way we see it, and I'm really glad that the WWE did this match, saw something that could lead on to Backlash, like we said. And that match, absolutely brilliant. So I'm glad they actually did this. But obviously, it's a bit of a shame that the match was kind of short. But as they're older wrestlers, it makes sense.
Even if there's 3 of them there. But anyway, you had Jericho winning the match, beating Steamboat, of course. And then you had the post-match with Rourke punching Chris Jericho. And I was like, is that really the best celebrity involvement you can have in this? Really? I mean, it was a bit average.
Yes, the whole wrestling movie is about what this whole company's about, but
didn't really involve him brilliantly, though, did they? Didn't really involve him fantastically. I could have had him in the manager or something.
For him to get involved in this match, again, yes, we all have celebrities get involved at WrestleMania, but I really think he didn't really do anything. All he gave was Jericho an embarrassing moment.
Yeah, and again, the match at Backlash was a lot better, and this is a theme throughout the night, in my opinion. Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy. I know you enjoyed this feud. I think this is a very well-built feud going into this. The two brothers. You had Matt turning on his brother in favour of his arch rival Edge. If you remember at the Royal Rumble, you remember when Edge and Matt Hardy had that feud, which was based off real life heat between them two with Lita. Built to this well.
And the way they did this, the video package, for people who watched this or haven't seen it before, the video package really explains this. Gives us first the whole how this match has been made, and then the whole Hardy, how they were before in the past and how they were together. I really like the video package. The match. It was one of the WrestleMania matches that I really was looking forward to for this WrestleMania. And
this, especially with it being a very fond WrestleMania of yourself.
Oh, yes, very true.
The feud got very personal, and that really did help it a lot. You had Jim Ross, and I think I must mention this, Jim Ross did a very good job of selling their history and their family life and the way Jeff has always had it better and how Matt has always carried his brother and everything. And that really did help the match, in my opinion. I do miss Jim Ross on commentary.
Jim Ross, we've all seen in the past that he does bring something to the commentary. With this match, yes, it's not the main event matches, but he actually did bring in the fact that these two had this new feud against each other, and they really were obviously battling each other to get the win.
And the match itself went about 13 minutes. It was a pretty good match. We had the typical spots there, which you expect from these two. Have pretty, let's face it, they're brothers. They have great in-ring chemistry. We saw that in their tag team matches, and the match ends when Jeff Hardy misses the massive leapfrog and Matt Hardy does the twist of fate with Jeff's head still in the chair. That was a sickening way to end the match, wasn't it?
A very good moment. For the fact they used the steel chair in Extreme Rules to give the perfect finish for Matt Hardy. I really liked it, and Matt Hardy getting the win over Jeff Hardy. An unexpected moment and a match that I'm always going to like.
Yeah, and with the chair involvement there, it really helped the storytelling, as it was Matt that hit Jeff Hardy with the chair at Royal Rumble, and they had another match at Backlash, an I Quit match, which again was pretty decent. So it continued the feud. It was a good match.
I do see sometimes WrestleMania being the ending of feuds, so they can go on to the new year. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to continue. With this one, I would really have liked to see the finish. Yes, they would have given Matt Hardy the finish, but the sad thing is Matt Hardy got this match at WrestleMania, won it, but didn't really go anywhere afterwards, and it all became about Jeff Hardy going on to Backlash.
Pretty much, and going against CM Punk in the future line, and then he would get fired from WWE for the drug charges. So, yeah, great work, Jeff Hardy, back in TNA. We'll go on to the next match then. JBL versus Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yes.
It's nice that the Intercontinental Championship was on the card for 20 fucking seconds, wasn't it?
I quit.
Oh, of course you quit. You have to quit, man. Because in this match, I'll talk about this match, shall I? You had JBL losing a quit match to Rey Mysterio of all people, just so he can quit. I mean, I'm sorry, but what?
JBL is as we've said in the past, a strong heel that was really goodly used in my opinion. So the fact that he had this match against Rey Mysterio, you can't say put him over because it's a stupid short match.
Oh, yeah, it's 20 seconds.
And then JBL leaves and that's it. And I just thought, what a stupid way to give JBL the send-off.
What a shit. Well, we'll just move on. Because what we had next was something we could really rave about. And that was Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. The story here writes itself. You have the Streak versus Mr. WrestleMania in a match which is essentially a dream match. They had a great match, Hell in a Cell at 97, where you had Kane coming out. But they never really faced that much since their Royal Rumble 1998 match where Shawn Michaels really messed up his back. And this is one of those matches where you just between two WrestleMania greats. And the build going into this itself, really, didn't it?
That's the thing. We had Shawn Michaels saying that he's done a lot of things at WrestleMania, and now he needs to go against his biggest competition, which is another person that could be almost seen as Mr. WrestleMania, Taker, with this streak. So Shawn Michaels wanted this match was his last milestone to get his WrestleMania moment.
I mean, before we go to this match, do you think this match, with the draw it was, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, the two greats of wrestling, you could say, do you think this probably should have been the main event? Because not a lot could have followed this, really, could there? I mean, you had that, then the two title matches. Do you think this should have been the main event, the thing that capped off Mania, this fantastic match that we got, rather than what we got after it? Because I'm not sure, really, the next two matches could follow such a great match.
Well, I'm going to give my opinions on the main event later, but with this match, the things that happened in this match, the importance behind this, the fact it's pretty close to being Mr. WrestleMania versus Mr. WrestleMania, it really should have been the main event just because of how people felt about this match.
Yeah, I mean, what can we say about the match itself? What words can really sort of describe this match? It is one of the top 10 matches in WrestleMania history, in my opinion. A great match between these two. What do you expect? It's Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. The match went 30 minutes, probably why that Intercontinental Championship match only got 20 seconds, but thank God for that. You know, they kicked out of each other's finishes. The storytelling was fantastic. You had that cameraman spot where I thought Undertaker broke his neck. And there were a lot of points in this match, and especially if you were a fan of Undertaker at the time, where you honestly thought that Shawn Michaels was going to break that streak because there was no signs of him retiring, and he was really on a high in the company. Great feuds with Jericho and JBL. You honestly thought at that moment the streak was going to end.
Because this was an unbelievable match. A match that obviously they put their all into this to make it the WrestleMania match of 25. And you really believe that the way they were going through this match, Shawn Michaels escaping Taker's moves,
And the
Tombstone being a big spot, you did feel that this could be Shawn Michaels' big win at WrestleMania.
Yes, but essentially Undertaker would go over here, the moonsault into the Tombstone, a good finish. You know, the match went 30 minutes, and it had us on the edge of our seats the whole time, even though we knew what was going to happen. It was that good of a match. One of the top 10 in WrestleMania history, if not one of the best.
A match that's going to go down as Shawn Michaels' best, Taker's best, and it definitely shown that this match was right to be made, and it happened at such a brilliant WrestleMania.
Yeah. 25th anniversary, good place to do this. Shawn Michaels, again, has a great WrestleMania match. Undertaker has another one. What do you expect when you put these two in the ring? Could anything really follow it, though? That's the question we will go into when we go on to the next match. But it was by far the best match on the card. Really, really good WrestleMania quality, big-time match.
And when you think of Undertaker and his importance in WrestleMania, you do feel that he does deserve, especially against Shawn Michaels, a better spot than the layout of this card.
And they went on to next year's WrestleMania, Career versus Streak, and they would main event that show. And what a bloody... You know, that was the best decision they could have done. It just reminded me of Rock Hogan, where you had the massive draw and nothing really could follow it, in my opinion. But they didn't make that mistake at 26, did they? Career versus Streak. That had to be the main event.
They did very good with that. But with this year, especially with the next match,
yeah, next match we had the World Heavyweight Championship match between Edge, Big Show, and John Cena. And you had Edge beating Cena on the way out in the Elimination Chamber match after forcing himself into the match. The whole way Cena got involved was to do with Vicky, Big Show, and Edge, and it was kind of like it got Cena into the match, but then you got to the match, and then the Big Show and Edge thing never really played out, did it? And it was kind of like, well, Cena got into the match, but then it never really played out, even though you had two heels going into the title match, and Cena was kind of like the face.
That's the way I look at it, because with heel versus heel, it wouldn't have worked out. Yes, they would have still been on Edge's side throughout the thing, but Big Show and Edge just weren't a WrestleMania feeling match, so they had to add something more to this match, and it just happened to be Cena who pretty much
won.
won.
Yeah, and it was a shame, really, because I thought, especially with Edge just winning the belt, it would have been a good time for him to retain, especially at a WrestleMania, which could be a big victory for the guy. And, you know, if Edge was going especially if Edge was going to win it back at Backlash in a last man standing match, which was much better than this match. Again, a reoccurring theme throughout this WrestleMania, in my opinion. The fact the matches on Backlash, it's got Orton on the front, the matches at Backlash, a lot of them were much better than the matches we got on WrestleMania.
And that's where I look at it. This is one of the reasons why I don't really like John Cena. Yes, he's the top of the business, but the fact that the title between Edge and Cena just kept switching too fast, and this is an example, the fact that Cena lost it a month later and thinking, why even give it to him at WrestleMania? He could have kept on an Edge and then continued the feud between Edge and Cena after WrestleMania.
Yeah, even though the fans wanted Edge to win, Cena was getting booed, but of course the match was okay. It got its typical good spots. It was a typical Cena WrestleMania win. There was nothing really special about the match, especially compared to the match they had at Backlash, which was a fantastic match and way better than this match.
The fact that it was without Big Show, because I don't think Big Show really helped this match. It was just there to fill it in, to make it more of a dominant match in some areas. But overall, the main concentration was between Edge and Cena.
Had to be, even though Edge and Big Show were the ones having the feud.
It was meant to be.
But there we go. That's just Cena at WrestleMania for you. Disappointing world title match, especially to follow on that great match. We never followed that. But anyway, we'll move on to the Hall of Fame. Austin headlined the Hall of Fame. Biggest draw of the Attitude Era. Correct decision. You had Steamboat, Terry Funk, Howard Finkel. Not sure about Coco Beware. You had the Von Erich family. Terry Funk's brother also got inducted. You had a lot of... This was a very strong Hall of Fame class, in my opinion.
Well, obviously, Austin being the draw, and everyone was waiting to see when Austin was actually going to get his Hall of Fame moment. And the fact he's done it this WrestleMania, they've really put him in the right time, because it's been a WrestleMania that WWE wanted to be a big WrestleMania. So, and the other people who got in it, yes, they got the right time, but obviously Austin was the draw for this one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he got out in his quad bike and he had that moment, and they were always going to give him that, and thank God they did. It did liven the crowd up a little bit, especially after that match, and they were a bit burned out after the Taker Shawn Michaels match. There's Steamboat, Terry Funk, legends in their own right, Howard Finkel, the Von Erich family. It was a strong Hall of Fame class, in my opinion. Move on to this main event.
Oh, yes.
Randy Orton versus Triple H, who went in the champion for the WWE Championship. Before we go into this, just explain why you really, really like this feud and why it's one of your favourites.
Well, two reasons. Number one, Triple H had so many great feuds, but this one, the way they had booked Orton, really got me behind this. It got me to think that a face in Triple H is going to get a really strong heel. And the other thing is, the other feuds like with Batista and that just didn't give me the same feeling. With this one, from the whole year, and even afterwards, it did continue. I just found it really awesome, one of my favourite feuds. I
mean, we watched this DVD, Best of All 2009, and Orton is pretty much featured most in this DVD. It was essentially the year of Orton, wasn't it? You had the feud, this feud was built up really well. You had Orton going through the McMahon family with his legacy group, kicking Vince, DDTing Stephanie, having that match with Shane at No Way Out. Orton won the Royal Rumble as well. It all seemed to me set up for Orton to win this match, and the build-up was really good. It had really high expectations, and it doesn't surprise me they put it as the main event. It involves Triple H and Orton for the WWE Championship in a well-built feud. But then they added this whole, if either of them got DQ'd or counted out, they would lose the belt. And that, to me, really took away from this match, which really could have been a great brawl, a great fight between these two, and kind of left me a little bit disappointed with this match, especially as I thought it would be like a feud-ending match. But they had a better match at Backlash, which Orton won the belt at, which I think he should have won it at this event.
Because I look at this, and the year has been of Orton, and a DVD, yes, people are maybe not being an Orton fan, but the way he was booked as a heel, getting up to this moment.
He was hot as a heel.
Very true. To go up against the best, being Triple H. It was just very nicely built, got you to the point where you actually wanted this match, because obviously he took out all the McMahons to get at Triple H, because he was the champion at the time. The match itself, it delivered in some aspects, because they did put on a fight without the DQ, so they actually put on a fight more than a weapon fighting match. They actually did a pure fight, and that was good. Also, the DQ in it, there were spots in this match when you thought the weapon usage could have been something added onto this match.
They were really teaching on the edge, and you had JR selling the fact that, was Triple H going to try and keep the title, or was he going to destroy Orton? And there was that very fine line between that. I just couldn't help but think that this match would have been better off if it was a no DQ match, so they could fully go at it, and it could really accentuate the massive hatred and feud they had for each other. And the fact that this was the fact that this had no DQ elements or anything, and they couldn't really go full out, and it left me a tad disappointed. Honestly, I mean, I don't have any complaints about the match. itself too much. It just, with all the build-up it had behind it, and the fact that it had to follow Taker versus Shawn Michaels, which stole the show, in my opinion, left me a tad disappointed, especially with the crowd being a tad burned out from the whole Undertaker-Michaels match.
That's the thing. There's moments in this match, Triple H about to crack Orton's skull open, Orton trying to punch Triple H. There was things in this match when it could have been better if there was DQ not allowance in that. But I just looked at this match and think that you've had this match, they've been building up, they were both going at each other, so the way this match was flowing, I was like, just, in my opinion, it just went really well.
Yeah, just to me, it wasn't that massive blow-off, do you know what I mean, from the massive feud they built with Randy Orton going through the McMahons to Triple H, and it just wasn't, to me, that massive WrestleMania main event match, do you know what I mean? It just failed to deliver because of that Undertaker-Shawn Michaels match, which to me should have been the main event. But you had Triple H retaining the belt after punting Orton and using the sledgehammer on that, so it kind of like when the referee was down, so you kind of have that whole DQ thing being tampered with by Triple H. Triple H wins at WrestleMania, and this is the first WrestleMania win Triple H. For all those guys out there that say Triple H never does jobs, the first WrestleMania win he had since WrestleMania 19. So 6 years since he won at WrestleMania. Just saying. Not a Triple H fan, but I'm just saying.
Now, with Triple H, he's been putting people over, getting them to where they should be in their career, and then having this match. I guess being WrestleMania 25, an anniversary, Triple H wanted his special moment.
Probably.
So the fact that Orton had won last year, the fact that Orton had been built up for this match, it would have been predictable in some ways if Orton actually beat Triple H. They got Triple H's win after, as you said, the past WrestleManias. But overall, two different opinions. I see it from both sides, but I was really satisfied with this match.
Yeah, I mean, you really like this feud, so it's understandable that you'd like this match. I guess you could say a partial viewer to this match, not really on either side too much. But I thought it was a tad disappointing, just with the build, the way this match went. It wasn't that huge blow off I thought it would be to end Mania, and I think Shawn Michaels and Taker really overshadowed it and made that not seem as good as it really should have been, personally. So you could blame Vince's card structure for that, but you know, just in my opinion, not a main event that should have been, in my opinion. No. Especially considering we got a Backlash.
Even the whole year had been built about Orton, so it'd be fair to give him the main event, so it makes sense leading up from the whole year to this moment. But with the way that the Shawn Michaels performed with Taker, that could have been quite easily the main event. But either way, the fact they gave the importance to the year, I was quite satisfied with the layout of the main event.
It's really one of those things, like, do you have the biggest built title feud, or do you have this match which will just draw in so many people, kind of similar to Rock and Hogan? It's one of those arguments which you can have. You know, should that have been the main event? Should this feud have been the main event? That was probably the more brutal feud, but this feud had more eyes wanting to watch it, in my opinion. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. It could be argued. You guys could argue it down in the comment section below. What are your overall thoughts on this WrestleMania then, MJ?
Taking away the star power in the Money in the Bank, the Miss WrestleMania, I really felt that could be special for a special Diva in Santina, JBL, the World Heavyweight Championship match. Those matches just didn't really give me a positive feeling. The other matches, as I said, the Jeff Hardy, the main event, Undertaker and Shawn, definitely delivered what I wanted to. So I'm really satisfied. This has been one of my favourite recent WrestleManias.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the one thing I'll draw a comparison from is this event here, Backlash. I mean, me and NJ really wanted this. This had a really good look about it. I kind of feel that a lot of matches on here were done better at Backlash, and some of the matches at Backlash should have been on this card. Like the World Heavyweight Championship match was done better on this card. The WWE Championship match was done better on this card, in my opinion. There was a lot of stuff which really was done better at Backlash than at WrestleMania, which I think the matches should be on WrestleMania, which is more important.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that WrestleMania should have been the finish of certain feuds, and that's why I think those Backlash matches should have been on here, so it finishes them here, and then start a whole new year.
Yeah, I mean, the Money in the Bank match was good, just not as good as previous Money in the Bank matches. Jericho's involvement wasn't the best way to involve Jericho, it was still decent. Taker and Shawn Michaels was one of the best matches of WrestleMania history. The World Heavyweight Championship match couldn't really follow it. Matt and Jeff Hardy was a good match. I didn't think it reached the level it could have done if they maybe blew off the feud there and had Hardy win. The main event was a tad disappointing, in my opinion. So a lot of the matches I was thinking, God, it wasn't quite as good as I was expecting, but it was still a good quality WrestleMania. It's just compared to the stuff we got at Backlash, it wasn't as good as it really should have been.
No, and that is disappointing because WrestleMania is meant to be the biggest thing going and have all the big matches. But I do like they followed on with some feuds. But overall, with the way it went, WrestleMania should have been the end of certain feuds.
Quick grade before we end this.
I'm going to give it a strong B, but it would have got a B plus from me if those things that I didn't really like delivered in a better direction.
Yeah, I'll leave the grading down to the guys out there. I mean, I don't really know how to grade it. How would you grade it out there? I want to know your opinions. I'm not going to grade it for the purposes of that. Get your thoughts on this show down in that comment section below. It was just a bit of it. It was a tad disappointing, but a good show still. So, NJ, I think we've reached the 25-minute mark, and that's usually the time when you do that outro that you do.
And the outro starts off with this.
All the tense.
Monster people. You know what I like. I love Monster. I think John Cena. But anyway, people, thank you for tuning in for this special WrestleMania video. Please share your thoughts, the good, the bad, and the ugly, in the comment section below. Until next time, people, goodbye. And tune in for WrestleMania 26.